and welcome to my culinary magic of the Emirates with Alexandra von Hahn. Guess what? Today, most of you know already, but I'm going to simply show you today the etiquette and the art of welcoming you. I know you into my majlis, the Emirati style. For those of you who don't know, I lived in the United Arab Emirates for 5 years, and I met many very kind Emirati women, families who introduced me to their culture, and this is what I'm going to show you today. All right, for those of you who've noticed, I'm holding, not a chalice, I'm holding an incense holder or incense chalice. Have a look inside. Yes, exactly. Now, this is to welcome you. In fact, when you're entering into my home or into the home of an Emirati family, you will be welcomed with incense. The women will be separated and the men will be separated, and you're all welcome. You're all welcomed with being honored with incense. Now, the incense is very different from family to family. They have their own mixture. They have their own signature. And why? This is in order when you are entering their home or my home, as you are today, you're coming in with your own fragrances. You're coming in with your own perfume, or you're coming with your own fragrance with regards to your deodorant and so on. The incense will neutralize your fragrances, and you have entered my home. And now you are on my territory, which means you're now playing with my fragrances. That's what it is. I've welcomed you. You're in my home and you're with me. All right, so all of you women, you're welcome to my majlis. And the men are welcome also to another majlis where there is a male host waiting for you. All right, what does majlis mean? Majlis, and while I'm talking, I'm going to welcome you with the incense of my choice. Very similar to aloe wood, which is very traditional. And you have it's extremely expensive. You also have the synthetic version, or you can mix your own version with wood and perfume and oils, and you have your own incense going. You don't have to spend these exorbitant amount of money for it. But they're all wonderful. Every home has his or her own mixture. I will come back to the word majlis. Majlis is a salon, or by salon, what I mean is a living room. The French word salon. You're now in my living room. And I'm going to place my incense chalice down. And I'm going to show you what is a majlis. Majlis is composed of being seated almost down to the ground, which is how Prophet Muhammad wanted, in order to feel grounded to the floor. You're going to be sitting on the floor. However, with time, as time has progressed, we're sitting on something comfortable, and yet we're very close to the ground. And I'm going to ask the cameraman to slowly come in and show you the height of my majlis. As you can see, I have different cushions and different colors. I've been to many different Arabic countries, and I've been collecting their version, Egyptian, or also to Iran and to the United Arab Emirates, and from Syria as well. So I have a nice mixture going here. And the majlis can also look very modern, which means fusion. It can also look this way here. The white set that I have here, that's also a majlis. So that's a living room. It's where the women, in this case today, in my case, the women are gathering and they're coming to visit me. So you are all visiting me. Now, I have welcomed you with the incense. I am also going to welcome you by asking you to sit, if you wish, on a lower, closer to the ground majlis, or if you wish, the more comfortable, for some, the fusion type of furniture. The hostess is going to make sure that she has everything ready for her guest, so that her guest will feel the utmost of being catered to, being honored, being acknowledged, and being loved. And I will show you right now why. Let's ask the cameraman to come in. The coffee has to be ready, the Emirati Qahwa, which is very different. You can watch my YouTube my video 1, 2, and 3. I have my qahwa already made, my tea, the incense is ready. I also have my finjan, my coffee cups, or qahwa cups. I also have my glasses for my tea ready. And of course, dates, traditional sweets, and more sweets. I also have biscuits, chocolate biscuits. And last but not least, I also have the perfumes, and some are oils, some are perfumes, and that I will get back to you a little later with regards to the perfume. All right, so once you are seated, you've chosen where to sit. If you happen to be a VIP, I'm going to have you seated on my right, which means I'm going to be sitting at one of the hostess chairs, and you, a VIP, will be seated to my right. Why? The person who's going to serve the coffee, either the hostess will or the servant will. 2 options. The third one, which is becoming very popular, are the daughters, the sisters, or the hostess herself will serve. This is becoming also part of the evolution, if you want to call it. Every family has their own system running. And the larger the home, the more servants, and therefore most likely you will have a servant serve you the qahwa, the coffee. Now I'm going to show you what I've done in my first 3 videos. I'm just going to recapitulate. We're going to have here the finjan. These are the Emirati qahwa or coffee cups. Again, I'm going to hold them with my 2 fingers, my index finger on the side, my thumb on top, and just to make sure that they do not fall, I'm holding them in. There we go. This is much easier. Index and the middle finger at the bottom, my thumb at the top, and I have full control. Now, you are seated, and I'm going to be serving you the qahwa from a dalla or the samtimiyya. The samtimiyya, I'm going to put this down. Samtimiyya is a thermos similar to a dalla. If it does not look like a dalla or like an Emirati coffee pot, and it's called the samtimiyya. This one is a replica or a copy of the dalla, and yet it has the new functions, which means it will keep the qahwa warm, possibly all day long. Okay, so allow me to show you. I'm going to hold that 1 finjan, that's what it's called again, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to be pouring it, but I'm only going to pour it 1/3 way full. There we go, 1/3 way. And this is dark blonde coffee because I roasted it a little longer and I cooked it, or I simmered it for a little longer. All right, so, oh no, I'm not going to put this back down. So you are now seated. I will ask the cameraman to just follow me. There we go. Now, I'm just going to pretend that you are seated here, and now I am going to be serving with my right hand the finjan, but pouring with my left hand. All right, so I'm going to slightly bend down, and here it is. I'm not going to be sticking my rear end this way, but it's just a gentle bow, and I'm bowing and honoring the guest and handing it over, not into the face. It will be chest level. It's so for the guest to feel comfortable in receiving the finjan. Now allow me to put this down just for a second, which means the guest who's receiving you will be taking it with your right hand on the side, and it'll be held with your right hand. All right, on the side so that you will not burn yourself. You will be seated, you're not going to be moving, you're simply going to be sipping it slowly, but you will wait until the hostess has taken her or his first sip. It's a question of etiquette and honor. The hostess has honored you in inviting you into her house. Therefore, you're going to honor back by waiting until the hostess or the host has started with his or her first sip. Just simply wait. This is not a drink drunk like a cup of coffee. This is a socializing drink. This is hospitality drink. This is for the respect and with signals. In other words, do you know Do you know how to respect their culture? Of course you do. You're learning it now. This is just awesome. So you have your finjan in your hand, and once the hostess started with her first sip, then you can take your first sip, and do not ever put it down. Once in your hand, it's in your hand. If you happen to put it down, then you have a very good reason for discussing a very, very acute issue with the host or hostess. But that would mean that you will disrupt the entire function and the entire event, and everyone will no longer be able to continue their conversation, which means the networking or the socializing has come to a halt in order for the guest to be able to transmit the issue, the acute issue. I will show you how that would look like, which means if you're seated here on the lower majlis, and if you place the finjan to the ground and you've released the finjan, this is a message that you have an acute issue to talk about. But you were not able to talk to the host or hostess outside or before or after the gathering. So that means it is an absolutely acute issue. All right, you're not going to be doing it. You don't have any acute issues, and especially if you're not coming to my home. Okay. So you have your finjan in your hand, and you have been socializing and honoring, and of course you're going to compliment, but you're going to go just a little deeper. It's not just a superficial compliment by complimenting the hostess for her recipe, for her wonderful coffee or gahwa. You're going to acknowledge her, which means you're going to add a verb. You're going to say what an exquisitely made gahwa, or the recipe that you have chosen, a verb, is exactly the one that you absolutely enjoy, and that you respect her for having chosen that one, because it's exactly how you like it as well. So they sound like compliments, they're not compliments. Compliments are superficial, acknowledgements have a verb. Remember that. All right, so we have that covered. However, now you're going to ask yourself, how often am I allowed to drink? The hostess, the sisters, or the daughters, or the servant will come and serve or pour more coffee as the event progresses. Elegantly, in other words, the hostess or the host will definitely be watching and saying, aha, how many have you drunk? 3 is maximum, 2 is what you're looking for, and you just simply slip it. If you no longer wish to drink, you simply jiggle from right to left, left to right, right to left, left to right. And that signals the person who's serving the gahwa to simply elegantly remove the cup out of the finjan and take it back to the kitchen without saying, no, I don't want to. You never say no. And that's the beauty of it. Allow me to put this down. Now, the same thing, some guests do not drink gahwa or coffee, but they drink tea. So we have a tea to differentiate from the coffee in a golden dalla, and they're served in tea glasses. Also only 1/3 or halfway full in order not to burn your fingers, so you can still hold it at the top. So it's actually half full, not full. Okay, and it's served with dates. It's served with sweets, any sweet of your choice. It could also be biscuits, it could be cookies, it could be chocolate, candies. And don't forget that when you're coming to visit, or you've been invited by the Emirati host or hostess, or I have invited you, is to bring a gift as well. This is to say thank you. And it's usually sweets, and they are simply wonderful. Often what I have seen, the sweets that I brought, they were displayed on the table and they were all enjoying it. There, I decided to make my own sweets. They were not chocolates, but they were either German or Canadian sweets of some sort, but they were always, always, always enjoyed. All right, we're coming towards the end of our majlis event. You can't just simply get up and go. It's very often the host and hostess, or the host is with the gentleman, and the hostess is here. She will then decide when it has come to an end. What she will do is, without saying thank you for coming, she's going to hold a tray with perfumes. And why a tray of perfume? This is a very elegant way of saying we have come towards the end, and I'm going to simply perfume you with my perfume or with my combination of oils in order for you to remember me. once you exit my home and once you enter your home, you will smell my fragrance. Meaning, don't forget me. I have invited you. The next time, think of inviting me. So you're here and I'm going to simply perfume you, or you perfume yourself, and I will hold the tray for you. Usually it's the hostess who will simply spray the perfume on you. And you know that's a signal, aha, we're going to be leaving. And you will then be exiting after you've been perfumed. At the same time, there will be someone sitting at the front and also holding the incense chalice. Sometimes yes, and sometimes not. The incense chalice is again towards the end as you're exiting in order to fumigate the room of all the other fragrances for all the guests, and it will neutralize the room. It's a wonderful, wonderful tradition. Now, when it comes to perfumes for the man, it's the same. They have less perfumes from what I was told. However, they also have the same routine or the same traditional method of welcoming the guests and entertaining the guests, and at the same time to signal that the event has come to an end. Before I will end this particular program, I will just show you one more thing that I think it's important. We have here the madhana. The madhana is a incense rack. It's still used today, but far less. It's done differently, but first let me show you the traditional way. The clothes were always incensed in order to have them smell with the fragrance of the hostess, incense and her favorite mixture. Clothes were washed, but they were washed not every day. But in order for the clothes to smell nice, they had the incense in this, just under this particular madhana, and the clothes were just simply thrown on top. And the servant was responsible to take care of the clothes once they were with incense, and they were dropped into the incense clothing box. Now, this is an abaya, and let me just simply put it on. And how are we incensing today in the United Arab Emirates with the incense in our clothes? Again, upon welcoming or upon exiting, this is just a very nice tradition. You simply hold it this way, very similar to a madhana, the way it was used or applied in the past. So simply this way, and you wait a little while, and you've incensed your clothes. And the same thing for the other side, and you cover it, and you've incensed your clothes and yourself as well. It's just a wonderful tradition. I love this. So with this thought in mind, I'm going to say thank you to all of you, and I'd like to also say thank you to the person who sponsored, a fashion designer from Al Ain, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Her name is Fatina Jabir. This is her logo. You may want to come a little closer. She sponsored this abaya for me, for this particular show and for all my other shows. There we go. I think you need a little closer. Yes. There we go. All right. Thank you so much, Fatina. You're awesome. And with this thought in mind again, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.